Lore Together is proud to be part of the Boss Rush Games Network. Feel free to find out more at bossrushgames.com/network. Hi, I'm Safi.
And I'm Mystic.
And this is Lore Together. This is the podcast where a husband and wife team go over all the world building, storytelling, and characters of video games. Because it's what we like to do together. We lore together.
Yep. And this is episode 73.
Woo!
But before we get into that, if you'd like to contact us, you can do that on Twitter and Instagram at LoreTogether. You can do it through email at loretogether@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support the podcast, and we hope you do, you can do that in two different ways. One is giving us a 5-star rating wherever you can, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Some of you have been doing that on Spotify lately. Thank you for that. And you can do that over on Patreon at patreon.com/loretogether. We can pay a per episode pledge to get early access to episodes as well as Let's Plays and stuff like that.
And occasionally bonus episodes when we have the time to craft them. Which,
Yes.
it's unfortunately, it's getting to the holidays, and it's crunch time, man.
Yeah.
So
we are going way back in our podcast library.
I was going to say it, like, I was going to start doing the Conan O'Brien bit.
No.
In the year 2000.
2004 is when
Okay.
this game came out. But
All
we are
right.
going way back to episode 16.
Whoa, okay. Episode 16.
When we covered Samus and Metroid 1, Metroid 0, and Metroid Prime.
Oh my gosh.
Today we're going to go back to the franchise as we run through Metroid Prime 2 Echoes.
Just one game this time.
Yes. I don't want to jump into the Wii generation quite yet.
Okay.
And the Prime games, as far as I'm aware, are all
Got it condensed.
and then you go on to Super Metroid and Metroid 2 and stuff like that. That's my remembrance. I didn't actually research the timeline before doing this episode. I just jumped to the next Prime game. So
Okay. Well, that's fine. Okay, what I remember is Samus, if she was raised by aliens.
the Chozo.
The Chozo. Bird aliens.
Yes.
And
Bounty Hunter
Bounty Hunter.
for the Galactic Federation.
And then, I'm sorry, guys. I've been studying for a certification. My brain is like thinking about this in professional lingo terms, which is funny because when you study for this certification, you look back at all the times when the people were using the professional lingo not correctly. So, getting back to the actual task at hand, it's been a while. So what is this? We're at episode 73 minus 16.
Yeah.
That's how long it's been.
Yep.
Multiply that by 2. Add maybe 2 or 3 weeks to that. That's how many weeks it's been since I've thought about Metroid, to be perfectly honest. I haven't thought about it since we did that episode in the live stream.
Yeah. Back then, we didn't even do public live streams. That was patrons only.
That was before little Buddy was born.
Yep.
Yeah. He's technically always been part of the podcast if you do the math like that.
Yeah.
But he was not born yet. And now here we are. He is over 2 years old. And we are finally getting back to Metroid. That's how much time it's been. Wow. Okay. I'm sorry. I was just doing all the math.
But you know the basics of Metroid at this point.
Yeah. You know.
Exploration, aliens, shoot.
Yeah.
Find stuff to unlock the door to get to the next area. Go back to find new areas. Stuff like that.
Super sci-fi. Absolutely.
Yes. So, as with Metroid Prime, Echoes was developed by Texas-based Retro Studios and was originally released for the GameCube in 2004. It's a worthy successor, but not as highly rated than sequels really are, I feel.
Yeah, that's fair.
And, of course, it's hard to follow up something that was a return of a dead franchise in a groundbreaking genre.
Yeah.
Because it had been, I think, over a decade, almost a decade, I think, between Super Metroid, and Metroid Prime. And
So
it went from 2D to a 3D first-person adventure. Not shooter, according to Nintendo, but adventure.
So the public's consciousness of the Metroid series was at the same memory level as I am now with Metroid from when we last recorded to today. Okay. I can relate.
Now, I love this game way back when I played it and had a GameCube.
Yes.
But I'm not good at this game. As much as I adore exploration in my games, and I do, and I love me some Metroidvania-style gameplay, I tend to not be very good at boss battles.
Yeah. It's funny because I think you and I also suffer the thing of, like, for whatever reason, our skill level with video games, I think we're just not as dexterous as a lot of the masters are. So there's a lot of games that we love, but we're just not necessarily good at.
The funny thing is, like, the first Zelda game I've been able to make any headway in and feel like accomplishment, even though I haven't beaten it yet, is Breath of the Wild.
Same.
I could never get into, like, I loved Ocarina of Time. I loved the lore. I just never could get far in it because I just wasn't able to do it for some reason.
I do think it has something to do with, I don't want to say necessarily athletic aptitude, but there are certain people who just have better instincts when it comes to, you know, the kind of physical reaction you need to have with a game controller, which all Nintendo games, PS, have to use a game controller because almost never, unless you're porting them to the PC and you've reconfigured your keyboard. Yeah. So people so my brother always has been more physically apt than I am. He just is a more athletic guy, and he's always been better at video games, including Dance Dance Revolution. To my chagrin, he got better at it within the hour I was teaching him how to play the game.
I find myself a decent enough gamer, but for some reason, boss battles themselves just do not click with me.
There's this connection between, like, your hands on the controller and your brain's, you know, reacting to what you're seeing on the screen and what you're hearing as well. And some people just have the neuron connection that are really good at that, and I am not one of them. And you might not, you're better than I am. You have more practice than I do as well. But I think there's just some people that are just more physically capable of doing that. I don't think there's anything wrong with admitting that.
I do say it's just another reason that difficulty levels should be more diverse in games.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm a proponent for narrative difficulty.
Yes.
I mean, what's the point of, like, yes, all the tough games you want, have an easy difficulty. Why make all the content for a game and then lock a large chunk of your population out of it?
Well, okay. We might sidetrack on this later, but just to go back to something we've harked to again, we see video games as art. We see them as a medium to express ideas and bigger concepts. And when you see it like that, you definitely are going to be voting for a narrative difficulty for most, if not all, games.
Yeah.
Or for me, I'm also willing to watch somebody who's good at really difficult games go through a let's play or a long play so I can enjoy the material. But if you don't think of games like that, if you think of them more as like a challenge for essentially to be the baddest dude to ever dude through the game, then...
Yeah, this is part of the reason that we haven't done stuff like Ninja Gaiden, Dark Souls, Elden Ring.
Oh, man.
All of those yet, because we are not adept enough to play those and make those fun for stream. But that being said, we may just have to bite the bullet on those at some point.
I think we can keep this in the episode or not, Mystic. It's up to you. But I think we could probably get a friend or two from Boss Rush, our network, or other friends from other games who are good at those games to do a guest stream with us.
That is true.
I think that is something, and friends of the podcast, if that's something you'd like to do, loretogether@gmail.com, let us know, and we'll try to make it happen. Because I think because you're, especially like the Dark Souls series, the lore in that game is redonkulous. You
might know more than I do at this point.
Absolutely insane. So I unfortunately dabbled down a wormhole of music theory of one of the boss battles, and got really into that one YouTube video a little too much. And I learned so much from that video, that I started digging a little deeper. And I was just like, man, for something where almost all the complaints I hear about this game are that it's just so difficult, they definitely put a lot of writing into this. Now, but back to the game at hand.
Right. Let's get into Metroid Prime 2.
Yes.
So, Samus is hired by the Galactic Federation to locate and render assistance to Federation Marines that went missing in the Dasha region 8 days prior. That region of space is on the periphery of the Federation, so we're kind of like right at the edge of controlled space.
So is this a Federation that does like colonial efforts and stuff, and like also
I believe so.
And expansive efforts as well?
Yeah.
So it's kind of in that vein. All right.
She arrives at Aether, the planet from which her last transmission was received, and heads for the coordinates 78.67.563. Now she's at
75309. Sorry.
So she arrives at the planet and goes to those coordinates. I have no idea how to read those coordinates. Those make no sense to me. If that was the coordinates of the planet, that makes a bit more sense. XYZ, that would make sense on a galactic scale, but
yeah, I would think it'd have to be something based, like if the Federation has like a capital planet that's like the center of their grid, and then they have a 3-dimensional grid, so to speak.
Yeah.
Then I could understand it, but it's all Greek to me right now.
So now, Aether is a rogue planet, but we're going to ignore that fact for the most part because there's life here, which would be pretty much impossible for a planet with no star, at least on the surface.
Okay, so I've got some. So for those of you who don't know what a rogue planet is, it means exactly what Mystic says. It is not rotating a star, but it is a big enough entity to be the size of a planet. Sorry, Pluto, and also, but is also just freely roaming around the universe, usually some sort of galaxy, but it doesn't have an orbit. It's just kind of hanging out,
either
doing its thing.
The star ejected the planet through some means, or the planet was pulled out of orbit by some means at a velocity that would push it out of its system.
Right. So I would like to conjecture that if you had some sort of chemical thermal process on that planet, you don't need a sun. You don't need a heat source. You can have life there. But that's just me being a nerd and having thought about this stuff way too much.
Fair. This is not the case here, I think, though.
Okay.
I don't believe the atmosphere is that thick to hold in.
You don't need an
heat.
atmosphere. Water bears.
We're talking Metroid. We're not talking microscopic life here.
What I'm saying is you're talking
about the concept.
The concept's available, and I do think not only is the concept available, I do think that if you can get microscopic life, that means over millennia you could probably have more complex creatures exist on that planet. I'm just being ornery right now.
Well, I can't find. There's absolutely no reason for this to be a rogue planet for the most part. It's not going to come up, but I thought it was an interesting side note, and we've turned it into a tangent.
We're already rambly, and we have gotten like 2 paragraphs into your script.
So as she enters the atmosphere, her gunship is damaged by a lightning storm, and she becomes effectively stranded while her ship repairs itself. Convenient. Mm-hmm. Continuing her search on foot, Samus discovers dead Marines scattered within a hive of indigenous creatures called splinters.
Oh my gosh, so are they... Is there indication to think they're all dead so far, or we're not sure?
Not yet.
Okay.
These little buggers are bugs. Basically aggressive giant insect-like creatures.
Aggressive giant... Are we going to get Starship Troopers for a bit here?
They look a little bit in that vein, but not a lot. It's more like I think they're 4 or 6 legs, and they look like bugs.
Yeah.
So, not flying as far as I remember. I think there are some flying ones, but not these ones. As she's searching for survivors, she comes across an unknown biomass that reanimates many of the corpses around her, which then all fight her.
No, we've got... Are they bug-controlled zombies, or are they just zombies at this point?
We'll get there.
Oh, no. I want that's a yes. That's a choose A or B option. I don't need the C option that you're alluding to.
Which are your A or B again?
Are they bug controlled or are they just reanimated on their own free will zombies? I guess if you could call such a thing.
They are reanimated by this biomass.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Soon thereafter, our heroine comes across her twisted doppelganger, Dark Samus.
Man.
Who we've seen. This is our actual first look at Dark Samus as Dark Samus, because in the previous game, all we had was like a hand.
Oh, okay. So, fully realized Dark Samus.
Yes. Which, go back and listen to episode 16 if you want a little bit of information. Well, actually, no. We didn't talk about Dark Samus last time.
Oh.
So, Dark Samus is a Phazon created duplicate of Samus Aran. Now, if you want to know what Phazon is, that you'll have to go back to episode 16 for.
Exactly.
Long story short, though, it's like a weird goo that corrupts and changes stuff and everything. Can you tell that I didn't listen to the episode before we recorded this? Good job.
We have so much to do.
I also try not to listen to our episodes because I don't want to inflate our listen count, and I don't have all the old episodes anymore.
Oh,
So,
well, okay.
Yeah. Oops. I guess I could have re-downloaded from Libsyn, but I forgot to.
Okay.
Our heroine pushes Dark Samus through a portal into another dimension. Problem there, Samus follows her through and winds up in a poisonous atmosphere that immediately starts to kill her.
Oh, no.
She is also attacked by a group of dark creatures. We'll get to them in a moment. They steal most of her weapons, and she is flung back through the portal to Aether with only her most basic suit functions, and the rift disappears. The reason we're calling them dark creatures is it happens really fast. We'll get to identifying them in a moment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Ship is down for repairs. We lose all our stuff. This universe conspires against us, and it seems we always lose our most of our gained abilities, and somehow it always happens at the worst times.
Oh, no. It's like it's a contrived gameplay mechanism to help you relearn how to play the game. Who would have guessed?
Also, they have to start you at some baseline. So.
Yeah, they have to start you. It's always, just think about other sci-fis like Mass Effect. They had to kill your character to get you
Spoilers.
back to base. How old is that game now? That game is older than our
we
relationship.
are literally spoilers the podcast almost. So
yeah, but also it's the beginning of Mass Effect 2.
That's true.
You have to kill your character. You kill literally the beginning of the second game of the trilogy. They kill your character so you can get back to baseline.
Yeah,
like that's just how it is in that game. It's
at least Dragon Age does different characters.
Yeah, that's a little bit easier to understand. But I think it's because Dragon Age is about the exploration of Thetis in particular, whereas Mass Effect, the original trilogy, was about the exploration of Shepard's hero journey. And I think the series are very different because of that.
Yeah.
Thetis is about the Age of Dragons, Dragon Age, literally, and Mass Effect is literally of the Age of Shepard, when you think about it.
Yeah. So after Samus leaves the hive, she discovers a clearing of sorts where the troopers attempted to set up a communications array, though it turns out the atmospheric interference is scrambling outgoing distress beacons.
Wait, distress beacons? So these are the ones that we think are from the Marines that she was trying to find? Okay.
Shortly thereafter, she finds the downed GFS tier, which was undergoing repairs by Force 1 of Bravo Squad. Unfortunately, she finds the remainders of the troops dead, and a final report left by Captain Exeter.
What a name.
Yeah. All the members are named because they all have at least like a dog tag, and so they all have a first initial and a name. I'm pretty sure it's probably like friends or developers or whatever.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
In the final report, Exeter reveals that the crew was pursuing a space pirate frigate that crash landed on Aether after the skirmish, but their ship was also damaged by a strange storm. The troopers' comms systems were unable to penetrate the interference, and the task force split into two divisions, one ordered to set up an ops base and the other focused on repairing the ship. We have now met both of them. Depicted in the report is some sort of dark variant of Splinters slaughtering the task force. Samus travels to the nearby Great Temple in search of clues. At the Great Temple, Samus encounters an Alpha Splinter.
Okay.
After taking care of the threatening insectoid and gravely injuring it, basically it's incapacitated, the same parasitic biomass she encountered earlier emerges from a spontaneous rift and possesses it, augmenting its power and basically giving it strength again.
So wait, are we suggesting that this biomass that makes zombies is actually from that alternate dimension?
Yes.
Okay.
So Samus has to fight the thing again. Of course, she eventually emerges victorious, and as the thing dies, a piece of alien technology bonds with her suit.
Can you ask before you bond to suits technology? I mean, I feel like this is just a thing that happens a lot in these games, but it's just like, oh man, I'm going to attach to the nearest thing because it's like it's in its programming. I don't think there's a lot of tech that does that naturally, but that's just me.
I'm going to apologize right now for names going forward for some of these characters because I don't know if they're pronounced in the game even because the game is in an alien language and there's not much voice acting. So,
okay.
In the main chamber, Samus meets Umas, U-MOS, the last remaining sentinel of a technologically advanced race called the Luminoth.
Luminoth. Do they glow in the dark?
The Luminoth lived as nomads traveling across the universe. After meeting other enlightened races, including the Chozo, they decided to find a homeworld of their own, heralding the beginning of their golden age. They sent out scouts to find a suitable planet, but found none until Xcar returned with news of Aether, and she went on to become the first Sentinel of Aether.
Sentinel of Aether. So wait, they were like, well, we're going to have a golden age, and our golden age is we're going to find this planet and make it our own.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
And we're going to delve a little bit more into the Luminoth. They have an impressive physical and psionic ability.
Oh.
Height and reflexes, durability, flight, and the ability to generate and manipulate energy.
What kind of energy are we talking about here?
Don't quite remember off the top of my head. We said they were nomadic, but we don't know how exactly they were nomadic. There's no history or explanation. There's no craft as far as I know. Therefore, and the wiki postulates that it's entirely possible the Luminoth traveled through space without the aid of machines.
Like a water bear?
Well, I was thinking more psionics, but possibly they could go into hibernation. I don't know.
I could see that. Yeah.
But then how do you as a nomadic species do you do that without technology? Like, you need to have somebody awake.
You're assuming they steer.
All right, everyone, hook onto the line. I'm going to fly ahead.
Well, you have to assume you're assuming they steer too. Not every creature steers when it comes to that kind of, especially if you're floating in something like water or.
But they also sent out
space.
Scouts.
They did.
That's fair. All right. But as I said, they're also psionics, so who knows? A full-grown Luminoth, just to kind of get you picturing stuff a little bit, stands more than twice the height of an adult human with slender limbs, 3 long digits, and a pair of functional wings. They also have like a longish face, so they look a bit like the Chozo.
So are they human? So they're humanoid in shape?
2 arms, 2 legs.
Yeah, okay.
Very slender, though.
Mm-hmm.
Umas explains that the impact of a cosmic object some 50 years prior to Samus's arrival sent Aether into a state of transdimensional flux and created a dark Aether. A vicious species called the Ing, named after the Luminoth word for terror, was birth of that division and waged war with them.
So the dark Aether?
Yes.
That sounds like a band I played drums for in junior high specifically.
The war went badly. The Ing slowly overtook the Luminoth with superior numbers and by annexing Aether's planetary energy, called the Light of Aether. They used a stolen piece of tech to help them store the planetary energy in 4 energy controllers, hoarding it in their contorted dark world. When the Luminoth situation became dire, Umas sealed the remaining Luminoth in stasis. They were to be released once the crisis was over, or sleep indefinitely.
Oh, okay.
Umas stayed awake to protect the final Earth controller himself. The device stolen by the Ing, the energy transfer module, was the same alien technology that bonded with Samus's suit after she killed the Ing-possessed Alpha Splinter.
So could you say that's Connect Ing technology?
Boo.
Mystic does this to me all the time. And then I do it back to him, and he acts like that I've punched him in the liver. And it's like...
I don't do it to you in the middle of a podcast.
I'm sorry. Yes, you did. I think you even did that last episode.
Did I?
You totally pulled a pun.
Okay.
You totally pulled a pun.
Can you tell we're married? Since it's fused with her suit, Umos implores Samus to aid him and the other Luminoth and sends her on a mission to recover the lost light of Aether. Samus sets off to do just that.
Sounds like something a hero should do.
Yeah.
Guess it's me. Let me go.
Yeah, there are 3 energy subcontrollers on Aether, 1 in each of the planet's primary regions, Aegon Waste, Torvus Bog, and the Sanctuary Fortress. Aegon Waste is a desert with several small Luminoth mining stations and a fun space pirate mining facility where the pirates appear to be conducting research on Phazon.
Of course they are. This
They
sounds
even
like
have some Metroids from Talon 4, which was the setting of Metroid Prime.
It sounds like some Orion stuff. Yeah.
Torvus Bog. Space pirates are all around in the swampy bog and the flooded temple.
Yay, space pirates.
And Sanctuary Fortress, the first area in Aether settled by the Luminoth, founded by Aether at the beginning of their golden age. Home to several of their most technologically advanced achievements, Sanctuary Fortress provided a safe haven following the impact that spawned Dark Aether. Each of these also have a dark version that is deadlier and swarming with Ing.
All right. Well, because we have multiple dimensions, multiple places.
Yes.
Multiple locations for one place.
Yeah.
The kind of thing. Yeah, that makes sense.
Someday we'll get to Legends That Are Linked to the Past, and we'll have the same thing.
Oh, yay.
Along the way through all of these places, she engages incarnations of the Ing that had adapted to the use of the technology they had stolen from her suit during their first encounter with them in the Sky Temple grounds.
Oh, no.
And from these and other Ing who had stolen Luminoth technology, she gathers many upgrades to augment her suit performance. We're not going to cover them all. For the most part, they are ways for us to traverse the world and get to new areas and go back to places we've been to.
Okay.
She also has several run-ins with Dark Samus. Shocking, I know.
Dark Samus, man. Never going to give up.
At the Aegon Waste, she encounters a hologram of the temple's deceased sentinel, Aisha. In the message, Aisha explains the nature of what they call Dark Temples, where Dark Aether's energy controllers lie, and the Dark Temple keys that must be recovered to enter them.
Is it sad that you said Aisha and I immediately thought of like, I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy. You don't know that song, Mystic?
Nope.
Oh my god. Okay. Guys, we got to make him more cultured. Just spam him with all the Bob Marley you can.
The message also divulges information about light crystals placed in Dark Aether to repel the toxic air there. So now we have our first fetch quest of sorts, and a way to not die immediately when we enter Dark Aether.
Wait, it's our first I feel like we've gone through a lot.
Yeah, but this is our first thing of, like, just go get the keys and get the stuff.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's our first, like, straightforward fetch quest. Okay.
With this information, Samus manages to recover the 3 keys to Aegon's temple and defeat a massive maggot-looking Ing named Amorbis in the Dark Aegon Temple and retake Aegon's planetary energy.
So gross.
I'll spare you the rest of the bosses then.
Thank you.
After returning the light of Aether to the Aegon Temple, Samus visits Umos again in the Great Temple, and he directs her to the Torvus region. At the Torvus energy controller, she encounters a hologram of Avok, who warns her about the poisonous waters of Dark Aether and divulges the location of the Dark Temple keys in that area. Samus gets the keys and the planetary energy. Let's just skip that part.
Okay. All right, then.
Finally, Umos directs Samus to Sanctuary Fortress. She finds the hologram left behind by the inventor and sentinel O'Lear. In it, O'Lear explains that the Sanctuary's dark representation, the Ing Hive, is the heart of the Ing Horde, and that the mechanical sentinels built to accompany the Luminoth in battle were eventually corrupted and used against their creators.
Ooh.
These are mostly what she fights. Yay!
Great. Wait, so the creators being what? So it's been
The Luminoth.
The Luminoth.
And the Ing corrupted their machines and made them fight the Luminoth.
Luminoth.
Yeah.
Okay. But we haven't explained the biomass yet?
The biomass is the Ing.
The biomass is the ing.
Yeah.
Okay. So the biomass that makes the zombies now also controls the tech that was originally made by the good guys.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think I'm following now.
Samus ventures into the depths of the fortress and then the Ing Hive. After invading the Hive Temple and destroying the Ing there, Samus returns the last stolen light of Aether to the energy controller in Sanctuary Fortress and turns her attention to exterminating the Ing threat entirely.
Well, when you have a sickness, you just need to get that antiviral. And Samus, in this case, is the antiviral.
Ultimately, Samus transfers all of the energy back to Aether, save for the last unit protected by the Emperor Ing itself.
There's an Emperor Ing?
Yeah.
Wait.
Big guy.
I was going to say, but of course, since the first boss fight you mentioned was a maggot, I just imagined it being an even bigger maggot, but now it has a crown on.
No. To reach the final Ing stronghold, the Sky Temple, Samus needs to acquire the 10 Sky Temple keys that seals the entrance to the Sky Temple gateway. The Luminoth originally sent 10 key bearers to retrieve these keys, but only Akul, the champion of Aether, managed to return her key before her death. Umos gives Samus the light suit, which is completely immune to the toxic hazards of dark Aether, and sends her after the 9 remaining keys.
Wait a minute, why are we only getting the suit now? What the heck?
Let the fetch quest sling.
Well, you know why that one person actually did return, though? Because they kept it a cool.
Oh my god.
You must suffer with me, Mystic.
So, this is the era of padding your game for huge play times, and
that's true. When you wanted to brag about the fact that to complete it you had to do at least about 80-90 hours worth of play time, and it's just not necessary, guys.
So yeah, we're just gonna after attaining the keys.
Yes, there are 10 keys and
9 keys left.
9 keys left. I'm sorry, 9 keys left. 9 things we have to go through, 9 boss battles, I assume, and then finally we get back.
After attaining the keys, Samus travels to the Sky Temple where she combats the Emperor Ing and, of course, is victorious. Game over. No, not quite. Upon acquiring the last fragment of the Light of Aether, the Dark Dimension becomes unstable and threatens to collapse within minutes, because, of course, there has to be a run-for-your-life sequence at the end of every single Metroid game.
I think this is just a Nintendo thing in general. Nintendo loves to lean on this a lot because going through the most recent Kirby iterations, that's a thing they've also leaned on, hey, you've beat this boss and now things are about to fall apart.
Yeah, but it's standard in Metroid.
Yeah, I still think Nintendo leans on it a lot, though.
So Samus flees from the Sky Temple and attempts to return to Light Aether before the whole thing collapses around her, but is blocked in the Sky Temple gateway by Dark Samus, who has absorbed an insanely critical amount of Phazon.
Oh no, come on.
Yeah, Samus overcomes her adversary and travels through an active portal to Light Aether mere moments before Dark Aether ceases to exist. It just kind of the divergence is done.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So she returns to Umos, who has awoken the previously slumbering Luminoth. The Luminoth thanks Samus, who then leaves in her finally repaired gunship. The final story beat, though, there is a post-credits cutscene depicting Dark Samus reforming herself in outer space. Because, of course, she'll be back.
I mean, I'm sorry, but when you cross dimensions like that, to assume things just disappear conveniently is to expect too much. Well, whenever you have any cross-dimensional stuff like that, it is a bit too much to expect things to just neatly disappear. And therefore never to be seen again.
Right.
I mean, even just think about it in terms of real life physics. I don't think that's how that would work. And also, we're writing a video game series that we're trying to revive after a decade. So, of course, there's going to be sequel bait.
And there is we'll eventually get to the rest of them, but they're not even done with Metroid Prime yet, because there is Metroid Prime 4 currently in development.
Oh, man. Well, I guess we'll be covering that at some point.
At some point.
Little buddy will be in college and we'll be covering it.
If you'd like to help us pay for his college, never mind.
just segue into the stone cold cash. Wow. I feel like I've retained almost none of that because there's just so much going on.
Yes, and you're going to get to play it next week.
Yeah, there's a new race of tall space dudes, and there's dark energies, but the Phazon's back, and then there's dark energies. So the phase, okay, so entities.
we do know why the Phazon is in many places. It's revealed in 3.
Right.
So it's revealed in the third game why it's kind of being ever present.
Yeah, but still, it's a lot to just... Well, and again, if you're talking about a series that was gone for 10 years and comes back, you're going to have a lot of people who are like new to it, who are going to play it without playing the previous ones.
Yeah.
So for them, they're going to have to retain a bunch of the stuff and reference to the Chozo, I assume, and then reference to a bunch of other stuff that we talked about in episode 16 that, now if this was your first game, you're like, this is a lot. A lot. And there's a dark version of her, but that's never existed before.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot going on in this game. As you said, it's probably partly due to the fact that
it's a sequel.
One, it's a sequel, and two, this was in an era where they really didn't like having a succinct game. It was very much about, we're going to make sure our players are putting in hundreds of hours into our game, and that's how we know we've made a good product. When in actuality,
make a good product and I'll play it for hundreds of hours.
You don't have to. There's a reason why I've stopped playing The Sims 4.
But yeah, this one wasn't as well reviewed as the previous one. The people are complaining, if you get too close, the textures look blurry and stuff. But technically, I think it's actually more advanced than Metroid Prime 1 was. I think that people were just starting to, after the awesomeness of Metroid Prime 1, it's like, well, now we're going to judge these littler things more.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
They did also say this one was more difficult. So have fun.
You're going to have to save me, because I think the last time we did the live stream
I had to save you. Yeah.
You had to save me. So we're just going to assume that's going to possibly happen again.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. But we'll do an hour of that. So that'll be the Thursday after this episode
comes out.
We're
still doing Skies Arcadia on the other Thursdays.
On the alternate Thursdays, we're still doing our horrible voice acting. We have no shame. We have no reason to have any shame. So we're just going to keep doing it. And
thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to us ramble again and again. And we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.